Hello and welcome to this Upgrading Your AEG video. This is actually part of a series of videos which the playlist for should be linked in the corners and in the description below. I will just say a quick disclaimer of myself and Tom are not be-all and end-all experts. We have a fair amount of knowledge and everything said in these videos are our own personal opinions. So watch it and then go do your own research and come to your own conclusions before doing any teching. With that, enjoy the video.
One thing I'm going to have to go soon, but one thing I'd like to touch on before I go, Ben, is how you get into teching in the first place, and are there any sensible ways of doing it? Personally, I don't think you should start teching on your £500 Marui the day before you need to play with it.
This is one of the big words of advice I give to people when they ask about teching is make sure you have a gun which is your primary gun that you run to play with. And then if you want to get into teching, buy a second gun that you don't mind too much if it doesn't work for 6 months, and learn on that, and just start with the basics and work your way up through it. I mean, that's what I do with my stuff. If I want to learn a new technique, I'll try it on a gun that I have an amount of guns behind me, so I'm not worried if I go to a game day and it doesn't work because I have a spare or three, and start on that. And then really the best thing to do is go online and go look at not one but several videos covering the same topic. Because if you look at one, they might just do it completely wrong way. Well, with shimming, there are 100 ways to shim easily. Ask a different person, you'll get a different idea, and go look through them and see which one you think is going to be easiest for you to do.
Oh, you can try them. You can try shimming the 4 different methods you've seen.
Oh yeah.
And see what results you get.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I think so. You can get a secondary. I mean, again, we bring up spec map. I've got a core. I've got one of their core ARs, M4A1 ish.
Yeah.
Looking gun. I picked up from Patrol Base for 89 quid.
Look in boneyards. Look for second hand. I know you can't do it at the moment, but boot sales. If there are boot sales going on, that's a great time because people will be clearing out their crap, and people will be sent by their other half with a load of stuff saying you're not coming back with this, so you can get
Midlands Airsoft fairs in November. That's going to be busy, I suspect.
Yeah,
lots of people.
I think that's.
But yeah, it's like how did I learn? I learned on just literally some broken guns, and lots. And when I learned, YouTube wasn't a thing.
So when I learned YouTube, YouTube was. It was back in 2015, but. Yeah, But I did the cardinal sin, and I did it on my first gun. Literally, I got my gun, brand new from the store, went home, and the first thing I did was, does this take apart like a real L85? And just stripped the fuck. Don't do that.
We've all done it.
We've all done it. And we all say don't do it.
Well, yeah, just listen to the idiots. We all had to go to a mate with a plastic bag. I've had loads of plastic bag guns coming from mates and teammates and people. Yeah. Can you make it work again?
Yeah. So most
every single spring, you took every single tiny spring out and dumped them in this plastic bag. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So getting on to if you want to start teching, the next things is tools for teching. The first thing we've already covered and is 100% critical, I'd say, is get yourself a chronograph.
You need a chrono.
You need a chrono, or you need access to one. Whether that be the site lets you go up on an evening and use those.
But then just buy one.
Just buy one. They're not a big expense.
Just put it on there. If you play Airsoft, just get a chrono. You've got to say.
Yeah.
So save yourself no end of bother.
Yeah.
So you might buy a gun and it comes in at 420 because they've got to downgrade it, and you've then got certainly in the UK, you've got an illegal, potentially Section 5 firearm in your house.
Yep.
You kind of need to know about that and not go driving around up to a site with it in your boot.
Yes. The ones in particular that I know do that is the E&L, because they even come with a certificate telling you how powerful they are. Mine came at 450. I was like,
quick, change it. Quick.
Yeah. So literally, I looked at the certificate and went, no, that can't be right. And I took the gearbox out because I could, and then took the spring guide out. Luckily, it's a quick change spring, and it just donk massive amount of power in that. But yeah, so yeah, that's well, in general, if you're an airsofter and you have 40 quid spare, get a chrono. Simple as, I'd say. The next thing I'd recommend is a toolkit like this. I think they're about 15 to 20 quid I paid for this on Amazon. If it's still available, I'll put a link in the video for when this is not live streamed. But I think it's actually designed as like a computer building kit, really. But you've got everything from sockets, which I've actually had use for in Airsoft, through crossheads, flatheads, posi drive Phillips, all that stuff, Allen keys, and Torx and star heads, which for some builds they do use Torx and star, which some people get stumped by because Allen keys don't work in Torx and star. Don't try and round them in there.
It's quite hard to round a Torx head.
Yeah.
Generally, most screws, bolts, fasteners in Airsoft are crap.
Yep.
Made of really poor, really soft. So certainly like the Phillips or crosshead, make sure you use the right bit. Test several bits to make sure you get really good engagement. Because if it slips a little bit, and then you're screwed. You just have to start drilling things out.
Yeah, and I know I've done it in videos before. I wouldn't recommend using a power tool to remove or do up screws. I learned the hard way recently and stopped.
I want to reiterate the point you made earlier about there are loads of videos out there from some really good techs. Watch, as you said, watch several.
Yeah.
Almost come to your own conclusions.
Because
don't just go, even some of the really popular ones are not very good.
Yeah.
So just watch 5, 6, 7. Doesn't take long.
And some people like to troll on their videos and will be like, "Oh yeah, it's a great thing," and they're actually doing it just to try and wind other people up.
Some very prominent YouTubers have been known to do things wrong to wind up their audience.
Yes.
So that's maybe not great.
Yes.
If they haven't then put a big thing on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, potentially read the comments as well.
Yes.
If they're not massive, and see if the tech has something to say, or I missed this step out, or I did this, or because I've seen that before, really good guide, but actually they lost a bit of filming, or the camera wasn't off, and they say actually I need so.
Yeah.
It's worth having a quick scan of the comments and just see if there's anything from the kind of the channel creator themselves.
Yeah. So I've done that. Like when I did the shimming one, I actually recorded a bit about like Titans and stuff and about how you shim the other way around, but the video was so long I cut it because I didn't think it was important, and then you mentioned it again in the comments, so I pinned your comment and put a comment on it saying, if you're doing it, do it this way. So always, make sure you thoroughly research the topic before doing it. Don't just try and rush it. And just try and get as many different views on it as possible, because there are a lot of teching videos out there, and not all of them will be good. Even if they pretend they are.
It's super fun sometimes, and it's also incredibly frustrating. My partner will tell you that I swear like anything and shout at things, and threaten to go and smash things on the rocks in the garden because I'm so fed up with it. And then she has to calm me down. So give yourself plenty of time. Again, part of the reason I'm in the workshop now is I had to do everything on the kitchen table, which means you can't leave a project. I had to finish everything within a certain window, and if I hadn't finished it, bag everything up, put it away again.
Yeah.
So you kind of want give yourself time, give yourself clear open space. Try not to have really bouncy floor surface when you start dropping things and everything rolls all over the place. Ooh. So just having a nice, clean, sensible working environment.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
With lots of light is really useful. Yeah. And other thing is you can these days with smartphones and everything else, you can take loads of photos and film yourself taking things apart. Then you know, even if there isn't a guide, you know exactly how to put it back together again because you've taken those photos. So
that's part of the reason I started recording my stuff. Was I was like, if I do this, then I know what I've done. And it was the first time I was really worried about taking a gun apart was when I took apart my mate's brand new recoil that he'd just killed. Because I know recoils are not the easiest guns to work on, but I had the video there and I knew how to put it back together. And I was making sure I documented each bolt I took out and put it in a place.
I have loads. I've got a load of IKEA Ziploc bags. Everything comes out and goes into Ziploc bags and is marked. Yeah.
Magnetic part trays.
Magnetic dish.
Yep. Magnetic part trays. The other good thing is I use the lid of my toolbox as well. Is a good place to hold it. Just anything that you can hold parts in instead of leaving them rolling around on the table is always a good bit of advice.